Boom, boom. Okay, just double checking to see if there's any other people. Okay, here we go. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I'm so glad that you could join us today. For those of you I haven't met yet, my name is Christina Cormier. I'm the founder of Seed Yoga and Flower Massage here in Lake Charles. And the heart of my work is helping busy professionals slow down, release stress, and come back to themselves through experiences of rest, creativity, and community. And I believe when we feel nourished and grounded, we show up better in every area of our lives. And that's why I love creating events like Sourdough and Sound. Today, we're here to continue our sourdough journey. We're going to check in on how your baking is going, answer any questions you might have, and support you as you grow more confident in your sourdough practice. So I'm so excited to be here with my friend and collaborator, Sunshine, the Village Witch. She brings so much wisdom, creativity, and playfulness to baking, and she'll be guiding you through your sourdough questions today. So, Sunshine, I'll hand it over to you. Tell us more about yourself, please.
Good afternoon, my friends. So I am Sunshine, the Village Witch, and my sourdough journey started from a place of really wanting to be intentional with the food that I was eating, really wanting to know exactly what was going in the food that I was eating, and learn about. You will hear the cat every now and then. Uh, learn about how beneficial sourdough can be to your gut microbiome as opposed to like white breads and processed breads. And as I was going through that journey of learning, it became very clear to me that the information available, A, wasn't always going to fit our climate because sourdough is very, very dependent on climate, like temperature and humidity and things of that nature.
Hmm.
And that sourdough and learning sourdough, and I guess like the resources that are available now, they aren't always neurodivergent friendly, which was very important for me and very important for the people that I was connecting with about it. And so I really wanted to change that and learn as much as I can and find a way to teach it that was very available across neurotypes, across abilities, and in a way that became joyful instead of rooted in rules so that we could all enjoy our sourdough and not really feel tied down, you know?
Yeah, I get it. That's probably really one of the biggest barriers when I wanted to start my sourdough journey is I just kept reading more information and more information, more rules, as you said. And I didn't really feel like I had a clear idea of where to begin. And interestingly enough, actually, as life goes and synchronicities, um, I actually was like, I just need a starter. And like a couple days later, you actually called me for some other reason. We were meeting for some other reason. And you're like, by the way, I have a starter for you. And I was like, no way. No way.
It's the witch part of the village.
Yes, yes. I love it. Oh my goodness. So um I've been playing around making some things and I guess my biggest question is how do you think of how to verbalize this? Um, what is a way that you can just, like you said, let go of some of the rules and some of the rigidity or the scariness of like baking bread? Like, I still haven't baked an actual bread loaf yet this time because same thing as the starter. I'm just like, ooh, where do I start? What's most important? What do I need to remember?
Right. Right. So the first thing that I will say, and I say this in my class like the whole time, I'm sure you heard, is your starter safety and
Ah,
maintaining the health and wellness of your starter
mhm.
is paramount because you are not using any added yeast to make this bread rise or to make this chemical change in the bread. So it is solely dependent on the health and well-being of your starter. And not only do we want to keep a safe starter for like health and safety reasons, right? Like you don't want to have mold or bacteria in your starter, but also the stronger your starter is, the better your bread will bake, right? So when we pinpoint that down, that is half of the work. The other half of the work that I tell my students a lot of the time is stop watching your clock and start
Mm.
looking at your dough. And there are just a few simple guidelines when you watch your dough that you can go by that have a profound difference in the way that your loaf or cookies or really any sourdough related product is going to come out, but especially that sourdough bread. When we learn to read the bread, we get more consistent results.
Ah, okay. So I'm hearing you say less looking at the clock, at the rules, at the words, and all the knowledge that's out there, and more about connecting with your dough and looking at it, awareness, bringing your awareness to the process and what's happening, looking at it. And yeah, okay, okay.
Right. And one thing I'll add to that is with my previous history, being a birth worker, being a doula specifically, and having three of my own children, when I started making bread, I really had a tendency to see it as a gestational process.
Hmm.
Right. And it's like, whoa, but you are taking something alive that
Yeah.
starts off very small, your starter,
That's
and you
right.
are feeding it and watching it grow and helping it grow until it is completely ready to be born, I guess. And it's just so weird because in birth work we watch the baby, not the clock. Like your due date is a guess date, just like when you are baking, you want to do things like look at the poke test where you're poking your dough and you're watching for spring back. And it's just from a birth working perspective, it is so interesting to see how making sourdough can be looked at through the eyes of like a gestational period uh,
Mhm.
that you are taking care of and keeping. Maybe
I
that's
love
just my
that.
background. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it is a live organism. That makes so much sense. It's a live organism. Why wouldn't you do better with connecting to it and paying more attention to it? That's
Right.
like you said with the care and the safety aspects, that sounds a lot like raising a child or caring,
Right.
gestating and then caring for children. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
So, on that note, how often should I feed my starter if, like, I'm not baking every day? I don't. I'm getting into it. I'm going to be more of a baker, but right now I'm just like doing it when I can muster up the courage. So if I'm not baking every day, yeah, how often should I feed my starter?
Yeah. So the wonderful thing about sourdough is you can put it in your fridge, and as long as your starter is like from a well-established starter, it can stay in your fridge for like ever. So you
Okay.
really only have to feed it whenever you are intending to actively use it. So if it's been in your fridge for a while, you're going to have to give it one or two feeds to kind of like get that good bacteria up and going again. But other than that, it's really on when you need it basis. So if you're
Okay.
going to be using it several times a week, you don't have to put it in the fridge. But otherwise, if you're not going to use it and you're just selectively using it, put it in the fridge and it will stay good forever. Now,
Okay.
if you are consistently using it, you don't want to leave it out any longer than 2 to 3 days, especially in our very warm climate, because otherwise you're running the risk of mold and bad bacteria.
Okay. Okay. So it sounds like if I were going out of town or something like that, putting it in the fridge
Mhm.
would be the best way to store it for a period of time. And so if I've put it in the fridge, maybe it's been in there, I've gone on vacation, I come back and I'm ready to start baking. How do I know when my starter is strong enough to bake with?
Right. So whenever you take it from the fridge initially, you're going to give it an initial feed. And before you feed it, you definitely want to make sure that it has come down to room temp. So, like, take it out of the fridge like an hour or so before you want to feed. You're going to give it that initial feed. And then you are going to look for the signs of readiness. So, whenever you feed it, we're using that 1 to 1 to 2 golden ratio, 1 part starter, 1 part water, 2 parts flour. And you are going to want to see your starter double in size. You're going to want to see well-formed, structured bubbles. And that means, like, sometimes we'll see TikTok videos where someone will like tap their sourdough and then it goes crazy and it breathes a lot. You really don't want that, actually. That's a very acidic, unstructured sourdough. You're
Okay.
gonna want to see like big, juicy, healthy bubbles that whenever you stir into it, make that like sourdough ASMR popping sound.
Hmm.
So yes, a lot of structure, a little thicker than pancake batter when you're stirring it. Um, Another thing that you'll know for sure is if you stir it and then leave it alone, when it is still like when it's still like at peak ferment, it will have more bubbles come up. So basically watching to see how much it has risen, which even if you need to mark it with a marker on your jar,
Good
an
idea.
expo marker is a great friend of yours. And then just look for those really structured bubbles and they'll be ready. Now, I will say, even if you're seeing signs of readiness in your starter, if it's been in the fridge for a long time, I do recommend doing at least 2 feedings.
Okay. Okay. So I'm hearing that I'm using my senses a lot to interact with the sourdough. I'm listening, I'm looking, sometimes I'm even smelling, and eventually we'll get to tasting. One last question. I'm very forgetful, and so I'm curious, what do I do if I forgot to feed my starter for a few days? Like it's not in the fridge, it's out, and I just like forgot for a few days. Is there
Right.
any way to save it? What do I do?
Yeah. So, obviously, always check it first. If you open it up and you're not seeing any fuzzy mold or any fuzzy growth, if you are not seeing large concentrated black speckles, because sometimes when our starter is hungry, it will create black speckles if it is starting to form hooch. Those black speckles are kind of throughout, but when
Okay.
you see a concentration in one area, that can be mold.
Okay.
If you are seeing streaks of orange or pink, or even just like a big disc of orange or pink,
That sounds like bacteria.
right. Now I will say, if your starter has been left out for a few days, sometimes, and I hate describing it like this, but it's the most accurate way I've seen. Sometimes it will form a dry skin on the
Yeah.
top of the starter.
That's happened to me.
Right, and that's fine. Some people choose to stir it in. Some people choose to pull it off. I always pull mine off just because I hate the way that it looks. Now, I will say, even if you see the skin, still look at it. Make sure you're not seeing those streaks of orange and pink. It's going to be a
Yes.
little darker than what your starter looks like because it is dried, but you should, upon thorough examination in a well-lit room, be able to see if it's orange. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
safety's key.
right, exactly. Because listen, when in doubt, throw it out. When in doubt,
Yes.
throw it out. You can
You
always,
always start over again, right?
right, right. And your friends who bake with sourdough probably already have too much starter.
Yes.
Right. And then when
Just
you're doing this, dehydrate some and save some, you know what I mean?
oh yeah.
Right, right. But to get back to answering your question, as long as you're looking in the jar and you're not seeing any discoloration or growth and it smells normal. Now it might be hungry, so if you smell acetone, that's normal, but it shouldn't smell like it's rotten.
Got it. Yeah.
If it looks fine and it smells fine, then it probably is fine.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. So you just start feeding it after that and
Right,
wait for it to come back to life.
right,
Or I
exactly.
guess it is literally still living, but it's slow. It's
Right,
because it hasn't had enough food.
right.
That
It's
makes
very
perfect
dormant.
sense.
Yeah,
Okay. 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 Very
exactly.
good. Well, is there
Right.
any other last tips or advice that you have for us before
Yes.
we wrap up today?
Yes. So a big tip that I have is, when we start getting curious about sourdough, and, sometimes taking classes are not always resources that are available to us. So maybe you are winging it and you are doing your own homework. Just
Mm,
remember that unless your loaf is gooey and doughy, you can probably still use it, even if it's
mm.
kind of funky. So if you make a loaf that is hard as a rock, it's still
Happened to me.
usable. Right. It happened to me my first time too. And it was like, whoa, what did I do? And I remember the first time feeling so discouraged and smacking the bread on my countertop and being like, who could eat this? And then throwing it away. And you don't have to. You can make other things with this very hard bread. Or, sometimes maybe it's not hard. Maybe it's a little underbaked and it has like the stodgy bit at the bottom. Girl, cut that off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, just give yourself grace. If your
Mm,
first 5 loaves of bread are awful, that's because you are literally learning pioneer type stuff. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
it,
yeah.
it's not taught to us anymore. So just know that you can make breadcrumbs from loaves that are too hard, or even soak it in some sweet milk and make some bread pudding. And
Okay.
just
So
know that it's a muscle that you use, it's a skill you develop.
yeah, so even if you think you messed up, there's still some creativity that can come from finding something else to do with your loaf, even if it's not your ideal, I don't know, your ideal goal. Even if it's not what you were going for, you can, it seems like there are a lot of solutions to make it usable, even if it's not as fluffy as you thought it would be.
Yes,
I love
exactly.
it. I love it. I love it. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us today, for asking questions, for sharing sourdough stories. Sunshine and I love holding the space with you, and it's always such a gift to see how a simple practice like baking can become a doorway into presence, creativity, and connection. It just that just makes me so happy. The heart of what we do here at Seed Yoga and Flower Massage is creating opportunities like this for busy professionals, moments to step away from the rush, to nourish yourself deeply, and remember what it feels like to be grounded and whole. And before we close today, I want to share our next collaboration that's coming soon. We'll be gathering again to create a beautiful plant-based board with some homemade goodies. I won't give all the details now, but think vibrant spreads, colorful toppings, and food that is as nourishing as it is beautiful. This is so fun. It's another chance to gather in community, to play, and to take home something delicious. You'll find all the details and registration at seedandflower.org, and we love to see you there. Keep building this rhythm of nourishment and growth together. Thank you again for making space for yourself today and for letting us walk beside you on this journey. May your starters be lively, your loaves rise strong, and may the peace of this practice carry you into the week ahead. Thank y'all for being with us. And I'm